my beautiful friends, thank you for watching. My name is Mia and this is my virtual vanity, a place where we both love makeup and we're quite critical of it. Today we are going to be talking about my overall yearly favorites, the standout shining stars of the makeup that I tried this year, as well as some miscellaneous stuff. Now, because I care about you, I care about your time, especially in this busy holiday period, I'm going to be leaving timestamps so you guys know when I start talking about what. I'm back after a couple of days of taking a break from Miamas to avoid burnout and basically stress. And me and my boyfriend got the sudden urge to basically rearrange the furniture in the entire house and buy some new fixtures and switch things up a bit, because we've been in the same layout for more or less 9 years ever since we moved together. So that was really fun, but it took a lot of time, it took a lot of energy. And you know, our homes are our sacred space and in some way an extension of ourselves, so I really wanted to give that the attention that it deserves. So you will see some things being switched around in the next videos. Just don't mind the background, it's there so I have something to sit on. What have you guys been doing these days? I'm really curious. Tell me all about it. I would love to hear it. Without further ado, let's get started on the video, and I'm going to start with my makeup favorites. For base makeup, this is the undefeated champion, the undefeated contender across many years. This is the Catrice Prime and Fine Fresh It Up Primer. This is a dewy, hydrating, liquidy primer that feels like a moisturizer on your skin when you put it on, and I find that it works great across all seasons, but specifically spring, autumn, winter. I have dry skin and I always need a little bit more of slip, a little bit more hydration. It helps with longevity, it helps with appearance. It doesn't, you know, reduce pores or anything, but in the end it's makeup. It's not miracle in a tube, you know? It can't do everything all at once. I've loved the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream. My perfect match is in Opal, now in the winter and probably in the summer too, because this is quite sheer, so it more or less blends into your skin tone. I really like it. It's very sheer, very light. I am a bit of a light coverage bitch. I love imperfections showing through. I love freckles, sometimes even spots, zits, because then when I go very easy on the eyes, at least on me, it doesn't look too makeup-y. I am wearing the makeup instead of the makeup wearing me. This beautiful, gorgeous, new holy grail, I love you. But when I wasn't in the mood to do my whole face, especially in the summer, something that I used very quickly on the go was the Isadora Velvet Touch powder. This is a pressed powder foundation, and you know, if you're very dry, I wouldn't recommend this. Where I used it was only in the summer when I'm at my most glistening, glazed donutty, sweaty, in other words, and I used it only on the T-zone, which is the zone that's least dry on me. So when I wasn't in the mood for coverage anywhere else, I would just pat this here and it would give the most natural, beautiful, full coverage, especially on the nose. And what I really liked was that while I had that sheer skin everywhere else, with the redness on the nose covered, it still looked like I didn't wear any makeup. It was just, you know, I was born with it. For bronzer, I have to say that my favorite this year was the Nabla Skin Bronzing in Dune, which does look a bit intimidating in the pan, right? Like, it does look, compared to my skin tone, that it would make me look dirty. But no, I did not look like a pig that rolled through the mud, because this is such a beautiful, sophisticated formula. It's so very blendable, so very buildable. It's that type of formula where you can't pick up a lot of product initially, so it forces you to watercolor your face, to use that watercolor technique of sheer buildable easy layers. So this works for me all year round and I love it. A recent discovery, I found my perfect contour shade which I forgot to use on my face today, but it doesn't matter. If my snooze looks bigger, that's because I forgot to contour it, not because it's realistically occupying more real estate on my face, but I don't care, it's my nose, it's there to stay. So this is the Misha Cotton Contour in Smoked Hazel. This is a perfect shadow shade for my pasty ass skin, and I also like it that it's buildable and sheer enough that I can use it on my nose without much blending. I have been paying special attention to my brows this year. I've been trying to refine my brow technique beyond just throw essence, make me brow through them. And I think I finally found a winning combo. So my favorite technique is that I fill in this part over here, which needs more intensity in my case, a little bit here, and then I run a spoolie through it so it looks wispier. I can do this with, you know, any product that matches my color, but what I've been really loving lately is this Melkior eyeshadow single in Cinnamon. It's so effective because it sticks to my skin while also being very easy to blend out. It's just a touch powdery. It's the perfect match for my brows right now, especially with my darker hair color. And you know, Essence Make Me Brow is fine, but I've gotten bored with it after repurchasing it for like the 50th time in a row. So I've switched it up with the NYX Control Freak, which I've bought because of Emily Noel here on YouTube. I love this. This is a clear gel. This holds my brows like nobody's business. It's like my brows are in the military and standing at attention. Holds them all day, and it just gives them a very intentional, you know, clean girl look, which, you know, the clean girl look in itself has problematic tendencies, and I keep telling myself, I'll do a get ready with me about it and other topics, and I keep postponing, but we'll get to it when we'll get to it. For blush, there's two standout favorites. The first one would be the Face Stockholm Devoted blush, which is the perfect flush of pink on my cheeks. It makes my cheeks look so very healthy. It goes... What is happening with my voice? Am I going through second puberty? Excuse me. Okay, now that we've unplugged that drain, this is a flush of health, of youth on my cheeks. Absolutely beautiful formula, blends itself. I'm so happy that I discovered this brand this year. And another blush was something that I kept saying I will declutter. It went through 2 rounds of declutters in the maybe pile, and then I said, but I never wear it, but it's bulky, but maybe I'll depot it, but I never wear it. Every single time something stayed my hands to not declutter it. This is the Pupa Milano Maxi blush in 201, and I don't know why I ever wanted to declutter this. This is again the perfect youthful pink flush on my cheeks. It looks very natural to me. It's this beautiful satin formula that's not too matte, it's not shimmery at all, so it just looks very fresh. It's very pretty. For highlighter, listen, in general, I've taken great care to rotate through my makeup across this year, and because I'm going to the office and I'm going out less often, so I have to be careful to rotate through stuff so I don't neglect my collection that, goddamn, I've spent a lot of money on. Choosing a favorite highlighter because of this was hard, but I've noticed that I have a tendency to use MAC Double Gleam a lot. This is the perfect highlighter that goes with everything. Not too glittery, not too subtle. It's just beautiful. It can be built up. You can use it just as a wash of sheen on the cheeks for every day or whatever, depending on your style. A highlighter that I have used mostly as an eyeshadow is the Space Age Prophecy by Kaleidos. This is a multi-chrome highlighter, and I do love using it on the cheeks as well, but mostly for, you know, makeup playtime, editorial looks, for filming. This is a piece of the astral plane. It's a piece of heaven. I don't know, they made it with unicorn tears or whatever. It's absolutely beautiful, shifty goodness. It's very pretty, but it's very intense, it's very glittery. On me, it is very obvious that I'm wearing it. And it's a look, but it's not always the look that I'm going for. But when I do want to have fun, let's get on to with lip stuff. So there were two glosses that were my favorites, and if you've been here a while, you will know that I've sung the praises of them incessantly. And that's the Kiko Milano Hydra Gloss formula in general, but particularly this shade 07 and the Essence Shine 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 in Clear. The Essence Shine 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 in Clear is a repurchase. I've worn these for a couple of years now, and I really love it. I use it to prep my lips for makeup. I use it in the morning if I'm feeling my lips a little dry. It doesn't matter if I'm going anywhere. I use it when I go out. I use it with more obvious makeup looks. Like, it's universal for me, and it's such a good formula. I do like this better than the Fenty Gloss Bombs, and they're so much cheaper. And then the Kiko Milano Hydra Gloss formula, I love in general. It's one of my favorite formulas, but this particular shade 07, I've been really enjoying, especially I take it with me at work, and when my lip color of choice starts to fade away, just wash of pink on the lips. It's very beautiful, very natural, very shiny without being sticky, very hydrating, very nourishing. Really love. Speaking of hydrating and nourishing, I've been absolutely obsessed with the Burt's Bees tinted lip balms. Wow, these are so good, and they've been hyped up on YouTube for quite a while, but they weren't available here, at least until recently, when a bunch of my lip products expired, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna throw you in the trash. Good night, Sweat Prince. I decided to top up with these because glossy formulas, balmy formulas, these are my favorites. They don't have any lasting time, that's true, but that's kind of what I like about them, because then I can wear multiple lip colors during the day. For me, it's just advantages over advantages, truly. These last maybe a couple of hours on my lips. If I don't eat, I don't drink. They have the most beautiful sheer wash of color that it looks so fresh. And I know I've said natural a couple of times. Don't try taking shots whenever I say natural. You'll die, unless that's what you want, in which case my DMs are open. But they kind of blend in seamlessly, and they do give a tint to your lips, but it doesn't look very makeup-y. That's what I've also really liked MAC French Silk. So it's a favorite because I've used it a lot, because it goes very well with a lot of looks, because it's a beautiful flush of pink. The formula for me is so-so, but if I layer it, or if I wear too much, then it gets a bit gloopy. I don't know, I feel it on the lips. However, if I just put one light wash on the lips, it's perfect. I've really liked the Face Stockholm lip veil in Cranberry, which looks a bit intimidating, right? But it's not at all. It's a sheer wash of reddish color, and it can be built up, so you can look either like you've just eaten some forest fruit, or it can be built up with a proper daytime appropriate red lipstick. It's also a very nice slippy hydrating formula, so another plus for me. For lip pencils, I've had two favorites that I keep using over and over. I never mention them in my stories for some reason. I forget about them, but I always line my lips with them. This is the Melkior Nude pencil, which is just the perfect lip color. It matches my natural lip color pretty well, so I can use it with almost anything, and it's very creamy, very smooth without being too much. And then there's Neve Cosmetics Ballerina. You guys know I stand a Neve Cosmetics pencil formula for both eyes and cheeks, and this is a very pretty enough ballerina pink, slightly pinkier than this, just a tiny bit pinker than my lips, but it still looks very, very natural. It's a very my lips but better shade for sure. Mascara, you know, I really, really love this mascara. This is the Kiko Extra Sculpt mascara. This gives volume, curl, lengthens. It's just beautiful. It's a very holy grail mascara for me because it's relatively affordable, at least to my budget, and it replaced the Lancome Monsieur Big for me. I really like my Lancome Monsieur Big. I like it just a little bit more than this, but it's also 3 times the price of this, so your mileage may vary. Last but not least, eyeshadow palettes. For singles, I don't have any favorites, and this might be out of character, but consider again what I've said regarding the fact that I kept rotating through my shit. I kept rotating through my singles as well, trying to give them equal love, and so I don't necessarily have a favorite that I use non-stop. For palettes though, I clearly had some preferences. I didn't buy a lot of palettes this year. I think I bought 3 pre-made palettes, and some singles, that's it. The Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet was dunked upon by many a YouTuber. They failed to understand that this is not a full pigment palette. This is a wash of magic on the lids. This is not meant to have like a full pigment, wham bam, proper Instagram eye look. I feel that this is an approachable colorway for people that want to wear a little bit of color without being too much. I get what Urban Decay was trying to do with this, and it's one of my favorites because it's got so many beautiful subtle shades that can be combined together for these ethereal fairy-like looks. My favorite shades for sure are Dazed, Lucid, and Warning, and Euphoric. Beautiful, beautiful palette. Huda Rose Quartz, I recently did a review of this with 5 looks. If you want to hear me gushing in detail about it, you can see it here. Really love this color story. It's a very airy, fairy color story. These are my neutral tones. Soft pinks, soft tops, colors that blend very well into my skin tone. And she's put here a bunch of beautiful sparkly duochromes to just make this the perfect palette for me. I really do believe that this is one of the best palette releases of this year. We're done with eyeshadow. Let's proceed to miscellaneous things. I am going to talk about perfume, books, podcasts, stuff like that. So let's get started. Perfumes. I've worn 4 perfumes in particular this year. For spring, summer, I've really liked Zara Waterlily tea dress. Now, Zara clothing, trash. Their clothing manufacturing process, dubious and problematic. But I really enjoy the perfumes. This in particular smells like you're in a garden or on a wild field on a crisp spring morning. It smells like brisk sunshine and a breeze, and it's a very light fragrance that's slightly flowery, slightly grassy. For summer specifically, I've loved Moschino Love. This is a playful fragrance. This has citrusy notes, a bit of, I'm not sure if it has peach notes, but to me it smells like a combo of clementines, mandarins, and peach with a hint of something floral underneath that gives it more body, more substance. This is like a flirty, teasy perfume. It's very pretty, very summery, very light as well. On to heavier things. I've been really liking a Victoria's Secret Bombshell this winter and autumn. This is a sexy perfume, right? Like the name suggests, it's not heavy, but it's serious. It's floral, it's seductive. This is a bit of a, not a man-eater perfume, but a woman that is confident in how she can seduce a man. And whenever I need a pick-me-up, a self-esteem pick-me-up, I wear this. Carolina Herrera, Good Girl, is a classic for a reason. This is a sexy, deeper floral, but it's not a girly girl flower field floral. No, this is a ballroom decorated with expensive, heavy flower bouquets type of floral. It's a beautiful, beautiful evening or winter perfume for me. I love it. Let's talk podcasts. I've been really into podcasts lately, and that's because I've started using Spotify this year. I know I'm super late to the party, but I'm a creature of habit. I didn't want to bother with it. But then I saw the light, and now I'm really into Spotify, including the podcasts. So I have a few that are my favorite, and I'm going to start with the one that I've been listening to non-stop when I'm getting ready, when I'm cooking. We're Not So Different by Luke Waters and Eleanor Janega. Basically, this is a podcast about medieval times. It's irreverent, it's funny, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek. Like you and me were sitting together right now, but we were medieval historians and we were just chatting about medieval times. And the premise is that people have been people for a long time, and even though the political or economical context was different, people are people, and we're very similar to one another despite centuries that have passed. So it's really, really fun. It feels like I'm having a cup of tea with two friends that are very knowledgeable and fun about what they're saying. Really, really love it if you're into history at all. Then another podcast that I've really, really enjoyed has been EXO Higher Self by Bunny Michael. I've been going on a psychological and emotional healing journey this year. I've started therapy again. I've started trying to grab a hold of my negative impulses and habits. I'm really trying to piece myself together again instead of scattering myself to the four winds and being 50 coping mechanisms and neuroses in a trench coat. This podcast has such a love and a gentleness to it. It has a format of Bunny Michaels, which is I don't even know what her credentials are. She's just a really smart, insightful, and gentle person. Basically the format is questions from her audience, from the listeners, and then she replies. And usually I'm a bit skeptical of things like these because I find that a lot of these spiritual people use spirituality as a band-aid over what actually hurts them, but they're not addressing the wound, right? So you've got this band-aid of spirituality, but then the wound underneath it oozes blood and pus. It's really gross, but that's what I've noticed. However, she has an authenticity and a gentleness and a love in every bit of advice that she gives, in every discussion that she sparks. And I've listened to, I think, 10 or 12 episodes by now, and it's really helped me reframe the way that I talk to myself and the way that I think about myself and the way that I navigate through life. So props for that. Another one that I've been really enjoying is Spirits. Spirits is a podcast about the mythological, the paranormal, the folk story part of life. The hosts get a little bit tipsy and they start talking about various paranormal or folkloric or mythological creatures around the world. And again, it has this vibe of sitting at a coffee shop with a couple of friends and just chatting about a topic that interests you. Video games. I have to say I didn't have a lot of variety in my video game playing because in times of turmoil, I end up playing and replaying the same games that I've really played 1,000 times because the repetitiveness to me is very soothing. The fact that I know what's going to happen more or less again is very soothing. Probably a neurodivergent thing. I don't care. I enjoy what I enjoy, you know? I've been really liking Destiny 2. And I've been playing this for a couple of years now after I got bored with Warframe, another great game. But I got a bit sick of Warframe and the grind and the complexity of it, so I got into Destiny, which is I would dare say, post-apocalyptic new world fantasy sci-fi looter shooter. You basically are the Guardian. You are a resurrected person fighting the good fight against enemies of the last city of Earth. Aliens, basically. And we ended up with having just a city because of a collapse that happened because of reasons, but mostly aliens and paracausal forces beyond our understanding. But yeah, it's really fun. I get to shoot a lot of bad guys. Recently, I've started playing Hades, which is a gem of a game. Oh my god. Even if you're not into video games, Hades is so beautifully crafted. It's so aesthetically pleasing. Not to mention that the story has so much depth and care put into it. It's the one game that won the Hugo Awards recently, which is a first. Games do not win the Hugo Awards, but it's so well written and it shows you the story so well. And the story is basically like, you are Zagreus, you are Hades' son, yes, the Hades, the ruler of the underworld in Greek mythology, and you have gotten sick of being in the underworld for various reasons. Spoilers. So you decide to escape, and the whole gameplay is repeating those escape attempts because yes, you died, but also you are the prince of the underworld, so you can't die. You just lose progress in a sense. Very fun, very beautiful, lovely game. Let's talk about books. I have read over 70 books this year and probably close to that number of fan fiction. I am an avid reader. I find time to read whenever, wherever, and I have a few favorites. Some serious, some not, and I don't want you guys judging me for those not serious ones, okay? First serious one is War of the Foxes by Richard Sicken. Richard Sicken has been one of my favorite poets for a long time. Almost every poem that he writes speaks to me. It's like he dissected me. It's like he opened me whole to see the little precious cowering things underneath my skin and laid them bare on the page. I still think that his first volume of Poetry Crush is better than War of the Foxes. But War of the Foxes I read this year and it's lovely, and I just listen to this. You're going to enjoy some very bad poetry reading from my end. Landscape with Fruit Rot and Millipede is the name of the poem. I cut off my head and threw it in the sky. It turned into birds. I called it thinking. The view from above, untethered scrutiny. It helps to have an anchor, but your head is going somewhere anyway. It's a matter of willpower. The life of the mind is a disappointment, but remember what stands for what. We deduce backward into first causes, stone in the pond of things, or we throw ourselves in the future. We all move forward anyway, ripples in all directions. What is a ghost? Something dead that seems to be alive. Something dead that doesn't know it's dead. A painting, for instance, an abstraction. All thoughts finish themselves eventually. I wish it were true. Paint all the men you want, but sooner or later they go to ground and rot. The mind fights the body and the body fights the land. It wants our bodies, the landscape does, and everyone runs the risk of being swallowed up. We collide with place, which is another name for God, and limp away with a permanent injury. Flex your will or abandon your will and let the world have its way with you, or disappear and save everyone the bother of a dark suit. Why live a life? Well, why are you asking? When you have nothing to say, set something on fire. And this is just one, and I've kind of jumped through the poem for like the lines that I really like and that made most sense to me. But this whole poetry book is filled with stuff like this, where it resonates with me. Another lovely book, this time non-fiction, is The Etymologicon by Mark Forsyth. This is a run-on commentary on how various words came to be, their origins, and one word turns to another word and bleeds into another world, and it's such a galloping pace of the author chatting to the reader, to me, about how various words came to be. It's loads of nerdy good fun, and I loved it. A book that just fucked me up was House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. This is a dark thriller fantasy borderline on horror, and I don't even know how to describe the plot without giving away the main twist. It's short, but it's suspenseful, it's packed with good stuff. The prose is amazing, the characterization is amazing, the setting amazing, the character interactions amazing. I can't really praise this enough. It's really one of the best books that I read this year. I don't even know how to say how good this was. Now, a very less than serious favorite. I've read, I think 17 or 18 of the Ice Planet Barbarian series. And it's all the fault of TikTok. I've recently gotten into romance books, whereas previously I used to be one of those snobs that thought romance books didn't have much substance. But recently I realized the value in reading about someone getting their happy ending, in the assurance that no matter how many tribes and tribulations the people in the book go through, they will find each other. Also, some of these sci-fi alien romances, I think the authors just had a great idea for a setting, and then they added the romance and just on top of it. So Ice Planet Barbarians and the Clacanian series by Victoria Aveline were two of my favorite romance series this year. Ice Planet Barbarians, the setting is like this. Unfortunately, some aliens be crappy and they abduct human women for various purposes, none of them kosher. Eventually, the ship where these women are held crashes on an icy planet, and they are found or they find, kind of depends on which book we're talking about, these 6-foot-tall blue aliens that live in a tribal sort of society. The blue aliens, of course, have some cultural differences, but most of them end up being very healthy, loving partners. The women find their family in this new tribe, and the other women that they got stranded with, they find a good partner. There's the trope of soulmates and, you know, fated mating, fated pairs that I really like. And I like that this book doesn't take it, these books just don't take themselves seriously. It's an alien romance. It doesn't try to be Star Wars of Lord of the Rings, and that's what makes them so enjoyable, and that's why they're 5-star reads for me, because it's what it says on the tin. It promises a good time without, you know, much intellectual input for me, and that's what it gives me. Love that, love that. And also the Caucanian series is again in this interesting sci-fi setting, whereas the women again get abducted by the bad aliens, end up on the planet of the good aliens, but they have a very interesting society where what happened was that years and years, generations ago, on their planet there was a plague. So the plague killed a lot of people, and it ended up killing a lot of women. So now the population is more men than women. The very easy way the author would have done this was to go very patriarchal about it. But no, they actually went to the matriarchy with an asterisk. Because as we all know, no society is going to end up being the perfect utopia, no matter if it's ruled by men or women. Women from our mostly patriarchal society get tossed into this new environment. They have to play by their rules and adapt to life there. So it's very interesting. I'm like, this author created a whole interesting, complex world that I've rarely seen in proper sci-fi books, and slapped romance on top of it, and it's like, for me? So it's like, it's a perfect combo, and it's so good, and I've really loved that. So yeah, these have been my favorites for this year for makeup and in general. I would love it if you would share down in the comments below what some of your favorites have been this year. Thank you so much for watching, and expect more videos for Miamas until the end of the year. Bye!